Ah, May, the balmy month in spring, when all the flowers bloom and your vegetables come out and the birds are out. Wait, this is a snowstorm, and it's May the 9th, 2020. That's what it's like living in Canada. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs, and welcome to my weekly vlog for Monday, May the 11th, 2020. Vlog number 167, or the 61st day of my isolation. Just saying. Okay, so you saw in the teaser that although it's May, we have snow in Canada, in the area we live in. Now, this is not unusual, and it doesn't stay. But we do get snow sometimes in May, little squalls actually, and that's what was on the teaser. That was a squall. There is no snow today. Actually, it's raining today. This month and last month have not been very pleasant as far as weather is concerned. April, we expect rain. You know, April showers bring May flowers. But now we're getting towards the middle part of May now. In a few days, it will be the 15th of May, so that's the middle part of May. And we should be expecting warmer weather. But so far, not so lucky. I suppose that's not a bad thing given the certain situation we are all in right now, because when the weather gets nicer, you get itchy to get out there. And, you know, we need to stay in for a little bit longer, I think. But enough about that. We all know the if, buts, and ands of that whole thing. So let's move on with my current project. So I have finished the quilt top. It hasn't been quilted yet, but this is the one I showed you some of the blocks about last week. And it took me about a week to get it all together, but I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Now you can't see the whole thing because this is only the upper half. There's another piece as big as that, if not bigger, down below. But I'm really happy with the way it turned out. It's called Nine Sisters. It's a pattern by Cozy Quilts. I bought the pattern online. I love buying patterns online because they're cheaper and you can instantaneously download them when you pay for them. So that's kind of a great advantage. None of this waiting around for them to be shipped. This was done with what they call a jelly roll pack, which is 2.5-inch strips. And I love making quilts from strips and pre-cuts because you know that everything's going to go together. Now these are Batiks. No, they're not Batiks. Yes, they are Batiks. No, they're not. Nope, those are not Batiks. Those are fabric. I love Batiks though. And for the border, I don't know how well you can see it, but it was from another jelly roll pack that I had pieces of laying around, and I thought it would go along with it quite nicely. And then the outer border is sort of a navy with a very small print to it, again from a strip pack. And I just figured a darker border would make the rest of the colors here pop. So now I have to get it layered and I have to quilt it. And I still don't have my 15,000, my embroidery machine, back yet. So yeah, apparently there was a part that needed to be ordered. So who knows how long that'll be out of commission, but I'll talk a little bit more about how I'm getting around that problem in a bit. But meanwhile, let's go on and take a look at this week's YouTube channel, Mr.Beast. This week's YouTube channel is called Mr.Beast, and that's kind of an unusual name for a YouTube channel, but it couldn't be anything further from the truth. It's basically an eclectic YouTube of videos showing this guy and his crew of girls and guys doing some really outlandish and crazy things. But here's the ironic part of all of this. This guy is a millionaire. He's young, but he's a millionaire. And he's made a lot of money from YouTube, and I don't know from where else. And he gives that money back. He's always doing huge charitable things, and you will see some of these on his YouTube channel. So not only is it entertaining, but by going to this YouTube channel, you're supporting somebody who's doing a lot of really good things for a lot of unfortunate people out there. And especially at this time right now with the virus going on, I think this is a good thing. So if you want to be entertained and feel good about the fact that you're being entertained by someone who's giving back to the general world community, then check out Mr.Beast. So the link to Mr.Beast is in the show notes below. And you know, although his videos are a little crazy, they are entertaining, I have to admire this guy. He's a self-made millionaire, and he's giving so much money back to all kinds of different organizations. And if you look through some of his videos, you'll see what some of his philanthropy has been doing for you know, his community, actually, and on an international scale as well. So I say kudos to that guy. Okay, so Stephen and Walter Live is listed below too. This week it was kind of all over the place. We had a suggestion that we talk about travel again, and we've talked about travel before, but we kind of tried to talk about travel from the point of view as to how it's going to change when we can travel again, at least how it's going to change for us. But we also took everybody on a little studio tour as well. We had a request from one of my new subscribers wanting to see our sewing rooms and craft room and that kind of thing. So I took everybody on a little field trip through my house to show them those things. And also on that particular video, we got talking about, well, I told the story about why my house was haunted at one point in time. So if you're interested in hearing about that, tune in to this week's Stephen and Walter Live, and the links are below. And I also have the link for the book of the week, and we'll come to that in a minute. So that takes us to my usual what's pissing me off this week. Okay, online companies right now, okay? This is a golden opportunity, I think, for any business that has a internet presence to really keep their heads above water, especially if they're ones that own a brick and mortar store as well, because this can carry on with their, you know, it can give them a revenue stream as well. Now, I'll give you an example. This past week, we've been doing some shopping online for fabric. Now, fabric is something that's kind of tricky to buy online because I really like to be able to see the fabric and physically be able to touch the fabric as well, to feel the quality of it. Also, when you see it in person, you see it amongst a whole bunch of other fabrics, so you can sort of compare what they look like and how they're going to look with your project. And if you happen to be looking for project fabrics, you can bring in some of the fabrics you already have or that you're planning to use in that project, and, you know, and set it up against bolts of other fabric. But that experience has been removed from the equation right now, given, you know, having to be isolated and distancing and all that other kind of stuff. So what's one to do? Well, there are websites that you can go to and you can see pictures of the fabric they have to offer. Now, it's still not as good as actually being there face to face with the fabric. However, it's at least you can see it. So I've been doing some shopping. Now, I went around, I want to support Canadian businesses, and I want to support ones that are as local to me as possible. I bought some fabric. I'm going to show this to you a little later on in the vlog today. I did buy some fabric online from a couple of places. I did not buy fabric online from my usual quilting store, and the reason being is they do not have an online presence that is conducive to buying fabric. Now, the owner of the store has said if you're working on a project and you need fabric, send her a picture of what you're working on and she'll make you some suggestions. But that takes a lot of time for her to do that. And right now she's running a curbside service and she's being inundated by emails and things like that. And it's just too cumbersome. Plus, my taste, her taste, not always the same thing. So I'm exploring what other online quilt stores there are in the province of Ontario. I'm starting with Ontario, okay, because that's the province I live in. I am probably going to branch out to other spots further away in Canada. Why am I not buying from the States? Well, there's a couple of obvious reasons for that. One, it's the exchange rate, especially on our dollar. Our dollar, and I said this last week, is like astronomically. To buy $1 American dollar, it's about $1.40 or more Canadian. So plus shipping and everything like that from the States, it makes your fabric very, very expensive. Two, you got to wait for it to arrive, and it could be tied up in duty or in customs, that kind of thing. So there's a delay there. Not to say that getting it from someplace in Canada, depending on where you get it from, it's going to be necessarily any quicker. But I still would rather support, and that's my other reason, I'd rather support my own country's economy right now. So I did find several places online, and two of them I ordered from. One of them was called thequiltstore.ca. They are a brick and mortar store. They have a couple of locations actually. One of them is about an hour's drive or less from me, but of course it's closed right now. But they had pictures of their fabric online, so I ordered from that place, and I am very pleased with them. In fact, I've ordered twice from them so far, and basically it's taking me about 3 days to get my fabric from them after I put in my order. Prices are a little higher than what I'm used to paying at my local store, but most quilting stores charge more for their fabric than my local quilting store. Her prices are excellent, about $15 a meter, whereas most other quilting stores, whether online or brick and mortar, are charging anywhere from, $17 to $21 a meter. So, her prices are good, but as I said, she doesn't have them online to pick from. Shipping was very reasonable as well, about $12 from this store, which is not bad. That's okay. And as I said, I get it within about 3 days. So I'm really happy with that one. There's another store that's in another place about half an hour away from me. It's a brick and mortar store too. I was a little perturbed with them, and I'm being a little unfair to them because I ordered fabric on Monday. I'm supposed to get it today, so it's taking it a week. But it sat for 3-4 days. Well, actually, it sat until Friday on their website being processed, but there was no indication of when I might expect it. So I did send them an email, and I got a very apologetic email back within an hour stating, they were a little bit behind, but sorry about that, but they were about to ship it out. And then I got a shipping thing a few hours later from that saying it was coming today. It's coming by Canada Post, so whether it comes today or not, that's another question. But anyways, at least they acknowledged my email, which made me feel comfortable that, that my $200 order of fabric wasn't just sitting in space. So those are two places I have found that I would probably order from again. But here's my whole point of telling you these tales. They are good on their service. Other places are not. They don't send you a confirmation that they've got your order, for one thing. Well, that leaves you in limbo because when you're paying by credit card, it instantly goes through on the credit card. So there you go, bang, several $100s you've got out there, but you don't know whether or not this company is paying any attention to that. Not unless they send you, a confirmation. So any company online that's worth their snot are sending you a confirmation, right? The other thing is I love the ones that send you another note saying your order has been shipped and they include a tracking number. That's excellent. Monfil in Quebec that you've heard me talk about before, where I buy a lot of my sewing threads and things like that, and stabilizer, they always send you out something like that and a confirmation. So, I have a great deal of trust as a result. And that's what happens with any of these companies. If they send you out this paperwork telling you, each step of the way where your order is, then I feel they're very trustworthy. And as such, I'm going to give them repeat business. But the companies that don't do that kind of thing make me skeptical. And ones that ignore your email inquiries, and I'm sorry, yes, you probably get all kinds of emails, but that's too damn bad. That's your business. If you want to stay in business, then you got to treat your customers right. And I've said this before during this whole crisis situation, that we will remember when this is all over. And at least for me, I will pick who I will be supporting and ones that I will not support. And in this stage of social media, like YouTube, like Facebook, like Instagram, I am free to give my review about those companies. And sure, I don't have 1 million subscribers to this YouTube channel, but I have enough, and enough local people or whatever, or people in the area of where these stores are or whatnot, may think twice about ordering from them. So you want to keep your online customers happy if you want to survive as a business. Now, of course, Amazon has this down pat. There's tracking on your orders. They tell you when to get it. Usually you get it before. Even right now, they've got the little disclaimer about that, they're focusing their, what do you want to call it? They're focusing their energies and everything on things that are more essential items. And I get that, and I'm fine with that. But I do get a window as to when something's going to come. And many, many times, in spite of the fact that they're focusing on essential items right now in their delivery policy, it's coming before those dates. So, Amazon's got it down. And that's why people deal with Amazon. And that's why Amazon will always survive. And people can say what they will about a company like Amazon, shutting down little brick and mortar stores and things like that. But you want to know something? That's not Amazon's fault. If brick and mortar stores, especially the ones that have online presence, want to remain in business, then they need to treat their customers in an efficient and fair manner. And don't give me that bull that, there's only 2 of us working in the store. Well, get over yourself. Do you want to survive or not? It's work. Yes, it's a lot of work. But you've got to do it. Because people that buy online are fickle. And what I mean by that is, you abuse us once, we don't go back to you. There's so much competition online. Can you afford to lose a customer? You have to ask yourself that as a business owner. Yes, I don't own a business. Yes, I'm talking off the other side of my face kind of here. What do I know about this kind of stuff? Well, I know what I know from a customer point of view. So that's how I'm addressing this, from a customer point of view. So there have been companies I have dealt with online that I'll never deal with again because they screwed me around. And there's others, like I'm saying, that get my full support. So I think the bottom line of what's pissing me off is attitude towards your customer base. It's a buyer's market, isn't it? Always. It's never a seller's market, maybe in houses, but not so much online because there's too much competition. So if you want to stand out, treat your customer base right. Okay, moving on. Product review. Okay, so I bought some fabric online, as I've already mentioned. I thought I'd show it to you. Now, I love batiks. And why do I love batiks? Or what are batiks if you're new to fabric? Batiks basically is a process for dyeing cloth that gives you some really nice colors and some very abstract designs. They usually come from places like India or Indonesia, something like that. And they're just a nice quality of cotton. They fray less than regular quilting cotton. Wash up nice. And in fact, Walter used batiks to make his shirt, which he was fashionably displaying on Stephen and Walter Live. So if you want to catch, I got the hiccups now, of course. If you want to catch Walter's tailoring skills, then go to Stephen and Walter Live. And he made it from batik. And it's gorgeous. And he's about to work on another one. He's ordered more fabric, more batiks. And they're just so exciting. So I'm going to show you what I have bought very quickly. Now, when I was purchasing these online, I could see them online. So you will see there's a bit of a theme here. Now, the thing about batiks that I like is you can pick almost any colors in batiks, and they will go together. At least that's what I have found. Okay, that's some of them. Here's some more. And what I'm doing is I'm actually creating, you'll notice these are going from kind of light to dark or in the same shades. But what I'm doing is I'm picking out a palette. And as I buy more fabric online, because I will be buying more fabric online, I am essentially going to use these as my basis, and from that I will branch out. Do I have a specific product or project in mind for all these? No, I don't. But I'm getting low on decent sized pieces of fabric. These are all 1 meter pieces are folded up. The reason that why I'm not waiting for a specific project is because 1, I really don't know what my next project's going to be. And 2, I want to be able to have my own little fabric store probably in my stash where I can, what they call, shop your stash. So I'm sinking some of my resources into purchasing fabric online to establish a decent stash that I can draw from whatever other quilts I want to make in the future. Now, once we get out of this COVID thing and get back to being able to shop like we used to shop, well, that'll be great, because I love going in and picking out fabric. But for now, this will do. And it's very viable, I am finding. Okay, I also bought sewing thread, just white sewing thread from Monfil. I bought 10 spools, 10 cones, because one, it is so reasonably priced, 3,000 meters for $3.49. You cannot beat that. And it's the thread I use for quilting. Okay, what I mean by that, I mean the actual quilting part, putting the layers together, you know, little designs and everything. I really like it for that. The other thing I bought this week, and this brings me back to what I was saying about my quilting and my one machine still being out for repair. You know that I quilt using my embroidery machine. Well, it's out for repair. And I do have another sewing machine. In fact, I made this entire quilt on my smaller sewing machine, which is my little travel machine. It's my little workhorse, I call it. It's light, so I'm able to take it to classes when we had classes very easily, whereas my 15,000 Horizon machine weighs about 40 pounds. So the other one weighs about, 12 pounds. I mean, I don't know if it's 12 pounds. So very light. But it has a small throat, which is the gap between the needle and the machine itself, so you can't really quilt on it. So I needed, well, I didn't need, but I wanted, I've been itching to buy another sewing machine. Now I looked, I want another Janome. I love Janome. Although lately, that's with this problems I've had with my 15,000, I'm getting a little wary about all of this. But nevertheless, I bought another Janome machine. I could have bought, and I almost did, I thought about buying this machine they came out with not too long ago called the Skyline S7. It's a combination sewing machine and embroidery machine, not unlike my 15,000, except it doesn't take as large a hoops as my 15,000. And I thought about it. It runs, I think the suggested manufacturer's price on, I think it's about $5,000 or something like that. I could have got it probably for less than that. I think that's what it was. I'm not sure now. Don't quote me on it. When Walter sees this, he will definitely correct me. But I thought, well, a bit overkill, isn't it? I don't need two embroidery machines. I also wanted a machine, though, that had many of the features that my 15,000 has, like automatic foot presser, automatic lifter, automatic thread cutter, automatic threader, stuff like that. Now you'd say, well, those are minor little glitches. Do you really need them? No, but once you've had them, you want them. Okay? Simple as that. So I looked at one that was called the S9, Skyline S9. They just come up with that, or it's been around for a while, I guess. Not a bad machine. I think the suggested manufacturer's price was about $2,000 for it. It looked like it would do the job. So I kind of figured that's the one I was going to get. Well, when I phoned up my quilt store, because she's an authorized Janome dealer, I was telling her that's one I want it, and she said, actually, she says, I recommend you get the S7, because the S7, for the little more that it costs, has all the features you're used to on your 15,000. And I thought, okay, I looked it up, saw how big the throat size was, and it was comparable to the S6. But one thing I didn't realize when I was looking at the pictures and the specs on the S6 was it looked like it had a computer display panel on it, which is like my 15,000. But in reality, it does not. It has a little display panel, but things are done by dials or buttons. And I didn't realize that, whereas the S7 does have that computer screen, and I like that. Again, you might think overkill or whatever, but I can tell you, once you've had some of these features on a sewing machine, you can't go backwards. So I settled on the S7. It was about $2,000 her price. And down we went, and I've got the machine. Now, a little side note, she gives me the machine, and because it's curbside pickup, what she's been doing for payment is people done e-transfer. She just tells you how much the thing is. You go home with it and you e-transfer it. Well, I still don't know what I owe her exactly, because there's taxes and everything on that too. She says, I'll send you an email. That tells you how much business I do with her. You know, she basically trusts me to pay her. In fact, I'm going to owe her a lot of money this month when my other machine comes back, because I'm going to owe for those repairs. I've also ordered through her the digitizer program, which is about $1,000 there. Then this sewing machine. Oh God, yeah. I'm glad I'm a saver. That's all I can say. So anyways, I have this machine. I put it through its paces after I got it, and I did quilt a whole small quilt, just a throw, and just using walking foot quilting. And I'm not showing that to you today because I'm not quite finished it. Probably be able to show that one to you next week. And it works fine. Ran into a couple of snags with the thread I was using. It was breaking a lot, but I also think my problem there might have been my needle. I think my needle was getting a little dull, and if your needle is dull, it will cause frequent thread breaks. So I switched out the needle, and after I did that, things were okay. So anyways, it's the Skyline S7, and I'm going to insert a little picture of it just here for a second so you can see what it looks like. So here's my new sewing machine. It's a Janome Skyline S7, and the reason I bought it is because it's got all the same features like my 15,000, so it won't take me long to learn how to use it, and it's a little bit more durable than my little sewing machine that I usually take to classes, and this one I think will make a really good secondary machine to my main sewing machine, which is still in the shop for repair. So when that comes back, it'll be fine. So yeah, I am a sewing machine slut. Simple as that. Okay, let's move on to book review of the week. And here we go. Altered Books 103. I've had this book for quite a while. And this comes from my days when I exclusively was working on scrapbooking and mixed media projects before I got hooked by sewing. And this is a great book to give you ideas and instructions for creating an altered book. And an altered book can be like on here, they're showing you they used old CDs to create the circular book, but they show you other things you have probably laying around your house that you can convert into books and things like that. Hold this up a little bit more for you. It's a nice little book, lots of great pictures, lots of good instructions, and lots of great ideas. And it is by Beth, Cote, and Keely Barham. Now, it was published by Design Originals, which I don't think exist anymore. However, I looked it up on the internet, and I paid $20 for this at one point in time, whenever it was. Amazon has it for $18.38. That's Canadian, amazon.ca, plus their shipping on it. So it's not a cheap book, depending on what the shipping is, and I didn't look that up to see. But it's a great book. So if you're having some mental blocks about what you can do right now, and you want to be really creative and you want to make something unique and special, maybe you're thinking about a gift for somebody or whatever, then doing an altered book is definitely something that can really show off your creative talents, and it's got a wow factor to it when you make one of these, because people look at it and go, "You made this?" Yes, you did. And this book will help you with that. So you might want to check it out. And I've got a link to this on Amazon in the show notes. Okay, so that takes us to the next excerpt in working on my grimoire. So now I'm working on another couple of pages in the grimoire, and I realized something when I opened this up today to work on these, that I had missed a couple of pages. I had done these pages previously, and I didn't realize that these two pages were stuck together, and so I missed them. So I've gone back to do those pages, and again, I'm trying to keep things fairly flat. This page had a pocket in it, and it had a tag. Now, I had done the tag
previously, at least the backgrounds on the tag. So on this one, I went to my Wizardry book that I have shown you before, and I just cut out this little thing about Virgil and forbidden spells, and I just glued them to the tag itself to keep it relatively flat. And I just added some baker's twine on here as the ribbon. And again, I'm just letting things hang out as they will, because I think it makes the book look fuller. I found another little picture inside of that book that I thought was kind of appropriate, so I stuck that down on the pocket, and that's all I did here on this particular pocket. On this side, I cut out a piece of scrapbook paper that has sort of a vintage graphic on it, and I just wrapped it with some of the baker's twine, or butcher twine, I'm not sure what you call this, I think it's baker's twine, that I used on the tag just to pick it up on the other page, and I just wrapped it around this card toward the edge and went over it with a little bit of ink to give it that aged look and made it into a pocket. On top of that, I had this little wooden cutout of a clock. I aged it a little bit, again, just by going over it with a little bit of distress ink. It only takes a few seconds to do that. And I just grabbed another piece that I cut out of that Wizardry book, and it's got writing on the back as well. And as I told you, it doesn't really matter what it says on it. It's all for the aesthetic. And it just fits right in here in this little pocket that I've made. And I'm letting it hang out over the edge as well. So these two pages didn't take me any time at all to do. And again, I'm trying to keep them as flat as I can, but at the same time allow for some texture and depth. And so yeah, another couple of pages in the grimoire.
Now next week I'm thinking of doing something a little bit different, which may involve me taking some of the pages I haven't done yet in the grimoire out, because I need some space. I have this idea in my head. I'm a little hesitant to actually try it because I'm afraid I'll destroy the grimoire. So stay tuned for the excitement of that. Okay, so events in the past week. Update on my mother. She got tested for COVID. They all did in her nursing home. Our government in our province declared that all residents of nursing homes and the staff need to be tested for COVID. A little too late, basically, because half of the deaths in my province are people who are in nursing homes. It's where it's coming from. Surprisingly, though, just as an aside, I was watching a news broadcast that we have here called W5, and they did a special report on, the COVID wards in our hospitals and what the health workers are going through and everything. It was very enlightening, but the surprising statistic from that I got was that they've been saying that the COVID virus, anybody over 60 is more susceptible and more apt to basically die from it than younger people. They were finding in this hospital that the most of their COVID patients, the ones that were on ventilators, were under the age of 61. And the ones that were dying, unfortunately, were people in their late 30s and into their 40s, early 50s. So what's that say? Before they were basically saying that the elderly were most vulnerable. But now it's looking like, no, that's not the case. Now, I'm not a statistician. I'm not a health person, so I don't know. That's something they were sort of suggesting in this broadcast. And, interesting. Doesn't mean, like, I'm in that group, I'm over 60. Doesn't mean that I'm running out on the streets and hugging and kissing everybody. No, I'm staying in. So anyways, Mom got tested. I haven't heard the results yet. They said they would call us if there was, a positive result and everything. But they've been really good, as you've heard me talk before about this particular nursing home. And to date, knock wood, cross my fingers, don't jinx it, they have not had a case amongst the staff or the residents. And that was thankfully to their foresight and their planning and their organization and their administrative crew, and that they really have done an excellent job. And you've heard me say that before, but you want to know something? You'll hear me say that a lot because I really do appreciate what those people have done, especially for all the residents and my mother as well. But anyway, she's usual, bit doddery the other day on the phone. Lately she's been going on, I don't know if she's got a hearing problem, and she might. And when this is all over, maybe I'll have to look into, setting up a hearing test for her. But she always says, first thing comes out of her mouth when she picks up the phone is, "I can't hear you." And I say to her, "Mom, have you got the phone to your ear?" "Yes, I have the phone to my ear." "Well, no." I said, "Mom, move it around." I try to explain to her that the little hole that, that you hear through, you got to get it right up to your ear. She does have a tendency to stick things on her cheek. She was doing that with her headphones back when she was using headphones for a TV set. I'd come into the room. It's kind of funny and kind of sad at the same time. I'd come into her room, and there she was watching TV wearing the headphones down here. Nowhere near her ears. I said to her, "Mom, the whole idea of the headphones is to wear them over your ears. The thing is, yeah, my mother's going to be 80 this year. But she's going on 110. And I've said that before too. I don't know, maybe it's me. It is difficult to watch your parents age. It really is. For a couple of reasons, which I'm not really going to get into that right now, but I guess it just makes it makes me feel old. It makes me worried about what I'm going to be like. And anyways, she's fine. And my brother had called her, and my sister has called her, and I called her because it was Mother's Day yesterday as well. And well, you could send a card, but they were going to quarantine the cards for 48 hours in plastic. And they didn't want anybody sending chocolate, flowers, anything else. They weren't accepting any of that. Rightfully so. Okay, rightfully so. So I decided I could have made her a card. I've got made cards here anyways for all occasions, because I have made cards in the past, and I have a stockpile. But I figured, why bother? Call her. I call her all the time anyways, but but I was glad that my brother made the effort to give her a call. And my sister, of course, always calls her too. So that was nice. Okay, so Mom's fine. So besides making his shirt, what else has Walter been making? Well, he's been experimenting with getting his cheese bread recipe perfect. And I think he's finally hit it. So I am going to insert a little video right here about his latest loaf. And here's Walter's latest creation in terms of cheesy bread. He's perfected his recipe. It looks absolutely yummy, and it tastes absolutely yummy. The big problem is you could just sit down and eat that whole loaf with some warm butter, and you'd be in heaven. And you'd also be a 10-ton Lizzie. Now that was yummy. It was very good. And he's got plans to experiment with other types of breads too. So, yep, everybody's making bread these days. It may be hard for us all to go back and start buying store-bought bread after all of this. I don't know. We'll see. So, what else is going on in the past week? That was about it. I worked on that and cleaned my house and watched Walter make bread. I made eggs Benedict in the microwave yesterday morning. Yes, I did. Yes, it can be. Okay, so making eggs Benedict in the microwave. Eggs Benedict, everybody knows what it is. English muffin, slice of ham, poached egg, Hollandaise sauce over top of it. Okay. You toast the English muffin. You take your ham, and actually my ham was already pre-cooked because we had a little ham that we had done a week ago, and we ate half of it, and the other half we sliced up and wrapped up individual slices and froze them, because I like to have slices of ham or ham steaks for other cooking purposes. They're great to have ham steaks that you can cube up to put like in a chef salad, or if you're doing some kind of like a fettuccine or something like that. So we figured that would be a good way to have them on hand. Because if you buy ham steaks, I digress again about ham steaks. When you buy ham steaks in the grocery store, they can be relatively expensive, but they often put them on sale. And so when they do, we kind of stock up on them. But right now, we're buying all our stuff online, and taking advantage of sales isn't as easy online, we have found. But we've had several of these small little hams, and I figured, hey, why not? Because we're not going to sit down and eat a whole ham in one sitting. And actually what often happens is I'm thinking of how to use up cooked ham that's left over. And sometimes it sits in the fridge for quite a long time and doesn't all get used up. So that's a bit of a waste. So I thought if we slice it up, put it in individual packages, then we've got it for like breakfast meat. I can make it into, you know, different dishes and things like that in cubes. So that's what we did, and that's what I used. So I basically heated the ham up in a frying pan. I could have heated that up in the microwave too. But then it comes to the poached eggs. Now, making poached eggs on top of the stove, some people go easy, easy, easy. My grandmother was the poached egg queen. Every time we went as kids and spent a weekend at her place, she would cook up like several dozen, literally several dozen poached eggs. She really was a big believer in the health property of eggs, and she wanted to make sure her grandchildren got a lot of eggs. And we did. So she had it down pat, how to make poached eggs. I've had mixed results, you know. Some people say you put a little vinegar in the water. I've tried that. I don't see that making any difference. Others say bring your water to a boil, but drop it down to a simmer. Then slide your egg in. Make a little vortex with your spoon so the water's spinning, and that'll take the egg whites, and all kinds of different methods. And yeah, I still don't have a lot of luck with that. So I found online how to do them in a microwave, and it works. And it's so simple. You take a cup like this. You fill it about halfway with hot water. I actually boiled the water in the microwave. 2 minutes, bang, boiled, in the cup. Crack your egg. I cracked my egg into a smaller dish, first of all, not right directly into the cup of boiling water. And the water wasn't bubbling anymore when I did this. And just slid the egg in, put it in the microwave, put a little saucer, or you could put cling wrap over it. I know saucer was easy. Put that on top and cook it for, it said, 60 seconds. Okay. It worked, and it worked pretty good, but the egg was, I like a little bit of runny yolk. The yolk was not runny. It was soft, but it was not runny. So I would think next time I do this, I'd only do it for 45 seconds. And you got a poached egg. Now, here's the problem. If you want to make a lot of poached eggs, I don't know how this would work if you used a big bowl and put them all in that. I think they would just commingle together and you'd have a big poached egg out of it. So you want to use individual cups. Now, I was making this eggs Benedict, and one for each of us, and we only had one egg each. Usually eggs Benedict, there's 2 eggs, but I kind of forgot that when I was doing it, but actually it was enough. Now, the Hollandaise sauce, how do you make that? Well, you can make that in the microwave too. So with it, you've got to be a little careful though. The recipe I had, I said it took a 1/4 pound of butter, because, you know, like, okay, if you're going to eat Hollandaise sauce, it's not low fat, okay? So if you're on a diet, don't do this. You melt the butter in the microwave. Then you take, I think it was 2 egg yolks, put them in a little dish, whip them up with some pepper and some salt. I think this recipe called for cayenne pepper. I didn't, I just put black pepper in, but maybe next time if I want a little spicier, I put in a little cayenne. Just take a fork, mix it all up, and then very slowly drizzle in your butter as you are mixing. Okay, if you put all the butter in at once, you might curdle the egg, especially if the butter is still on the warm side. So you mix that all up, and then you pop it in the microwave for 15-second intervals. And you don't want to overcook it because you can curdle your egg. Now, it did say if your egg did curdle, add a little water. Luckily, I didn't curdle it. I put it in for 15 seconds, took it out, beat it for a couple of seconds with the fork again, and I put it in for another 15 seconds, did the same, and it got consistency of sauce. Oh, there's a little lemon juice in there too to taste as well. And bingo, hollandaise sauce. And it was great. It was delicious. And that amount that I made was enough for 2 servings of eggs Benedict. Even if I had done 2 eggs each instead of 1 egg, it would have been enough with it. It was easy as that. The only thing that's a little tricky is possibly your timing for this, keeping everything warm. So I have 2 microwaves. Of course I have 2 microwaves. Technically I have 3, but I'll save that story for another day. So yeah, I could do my eggs in one and do my sauce in the other. Actually, though, I didn't do them at the same time. I did the eggs first. I made the Hollandaise sauce up in advance with the butter and everything, but I didn't actually put it in the microwave to do the final cooking of it until I had finished the eggs and got those on my top of my ham and the ham on the English muffin. Anyways, it turned out great. I would definitely do that again. So yeah, this just isn't another pretty face. Okay, I can cook. Not as well as Walter, but I can cook. Anyways, yeah, that was a little bit of a lengthy tale, wasn't it? All right, so what's coming up? Well, tonight, Monday night, we have our monthly guild meeting, and we're doing it virtually again. We have a section called Show and Share, where people, when we physically meet, people get up and show their latest projects, and which is great and nice and the whole bit. Well, we're doing this on, and we did it last month, on the virtual meeting, and that's fine. But oh my God, everybody is sending every little thing they have sewn in, pictures of it. And we asked them to have a short little explanation of the project as well. Some of them have written major books. I think we could be sitting here all night watching all these things. And quite frankly, that's boring to me. I mean, I like looking at quilts. Okay, I really do. Watching them virtually and listening to someone go on about, in 1920, my great-grandmother had this block that she made, and it's been handed down the family for years, and I decided to make it into a quilt, don't you know? So I wasn't feeling really good one day, and I got out this thing, and I looked at it, and I let it sit there, and you get my point. It goes on for days. I don't know whether I should bring this up or not to the Guild when we have our executive meeting in a couple of weeks' time, which will be virtual as well. Depending on how this goes tonight, I might make the suggestion, and I will get shot down. I'll get shot down for one major reason. I'm a man, and I'm the only man in the Guild, and I'm secretary of the Guild. And every time I come up with a suggestion or anything or say anything, I get shot down because I'm a man. Yes, you might think I'm being too sensitive to that because most of my viewers on here are ladies. No, I will get shot down, and it's because I'm a man. Okay? Simple as that. But I may bring it up anyways. So I'm setting myself up for a fall. I'm going to say maybe we should limit the number of pieces people submit for the show and share to 2. And their little description should be 50 words or less. Just to keep things moving. Okay? Maybe. I don't know. I'll wait and see how it works out tonight before I open my big mouth. But I will get shot down. I know that. That's what'll happen. Okay. So, enough about that. What else is coming up? That's about it. Nothing more. So, can we talk about the elephant in the room? This. Now, maybe you didn't notice it. My whiskers here. Okay. This is, well, tomorrow it will be 1 week when I decided, hey, I'm going to grow a beard. Why did I do that? I've never had a beard or a mustache. Didn't think I could grow one. Still not sure if I can. But I thought, why not take advantage of this time and see what happens? I'm not going out. Nobody's really seeing me. Having said that, I just realized you're all seeing me. My hair's a mess anyways. And I'm getting to the point where I'm thinking of actually doing something. I've got some clippers, electric clippers. I might get Walter to shave the sides of my head. Leave the top long, shave the sides. I mean, that's a look, isn't it? The young people seem to be doing that these days. I don't know. I'm afraid to try it. But then again, it's getting to the point now where I don't know when I'm going to see my hairdresser for a while. And I may scare her with this. But anyways, it's nice and soft. And it's white. Isn't that nice? It's pretty much white coming in. I could end up looking like Grizzly Adams, if you know who that is. Or, you know, maybe I can get a job at Christmas time in a mall as a Santa. I don't know. But why the hell? What the heck? Let's give it a try and see what happens. So anyways, yes, if you're wondering if I had forgotten to shave this morning, I hadn't forgot. It was on purpose. Okay? Walter's growing one too. But his is coming in dark. And he has had a beard before. He looks pretty good in a beard. He had a beard about 20 years ago for a while. He's always had a mustache. In fact, he knows it's divorce court I love a mustache. on a man. I guess that's why I've always wanted to grow one, but I don't know if I can. Not really sure how this is working out. There's something there, but anyways, we'll see. But I've always told him, I don't remember when I met him 37 years ago, he had a mustache then. And I've never seen him without a mustache. I have seen him without a beard. I have seen him with a beard. So anyways, it's a bit of a competition now. Well, he's going to win because he can grow hair a lot faster than I can. Because I'm a blonde. Well, white or silver. I don't know. Anyways, so I think it's time to sign off because now I'm just getting silly. So I hope you have a good week. And as I say every week, stay healthy, stay safe, stay in. This thing isn't over yet, regardless of what our governments are trying to do. It's not over. So keep safe. And we'll see you next week. And don't forget, Stephen and Walter live this Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you then. Bye-bye.